There is a strange, beautiful secret about love after 50. It stops being a performance. It no longer asks people to prove their beauty every morning, to chase attention, to accept crumbs, to pretend they are not hurt, or to stay silent just to keep someone close. After 50, love becomes more dangerous in the best possible way because it becomes honest. It no longer belongs to the loudest heart in the room. It belongs to the person who has survived disappointment, forgiven themselves for old choices, buried illusions, and still somehow kept the ability to feel deeply. Some zodiac signs become softer with age. Some become sharper. Some stop tolerating emotional poverty. Some finally understand that passion without peace is not love, and peace without tenderness is not enough either. But there are 7 signs that become almost magnetic after 50. Not because they try harder, not because they dress younger, speak louder, or pretend time has not touched them. They become irresistible because life has carved away everything false. What remains is their essence, richer, braver, warmer, more selective, and impossible to replace. Before 50, many of them love through longing. They choose partners because of chemistry, loneliness, family expectations, old wounds, or the dream of being chosen. After 50, the same signs begin to love through truth. They ask different questions. Not, will this person admire me? But will this person understand my silence? Not, will they make my heart race? But will they protect the part of me that finally learned peace? They no longer need love to rescue them. They want love that recognizes them. And this is when they become unforgettable. Their eyes change. Their energy changes. Their standards change. They stop begging for consistency and begin offering a kind of love that feels like a rare house with the lights still on in a storm. They know how quickly life passes. They know how expensive regret can be. They know that a beautiful body may attract attention, but a beautiful soul that has been through fire can hold someone forever. After 50, these 7 zodiac signs do not love like beginners. They love like people who understand the cost of losing time. They do not want games unless the game is laughter. They do not want drama unless it ends in truth. They do not want someone perfect. They want someone brave enough to be real. And when they choose you at this stage of life, it is not accidental. It is not childish infatuation. It is a decision made by the heart, the memory, the body, and the soul all at once. These are the zodiac signs that become irresistible in love after 50, not because they become younger, but because they finally become fully themselves. Taurus. After 50, Taurus becomes one of the most desirable partners in the zodiac because they stop confusing comfort with compromise. In youth, Taurus may stay too long in relationships that look stable from the outside but feel emotionally empty on the inside. They may convince themselves that loyalty means enduring coldness, that family means silence, that love means keeping the house warm even if their own heart is freezing. But after 50, something deep awakens in them. Taurus begins to understand that life is not only about surviving beside someone, it is about feeling alive beside someone. What changes in Taurus after 50 is their relationship with pleasure, peace, and self-worth. They no longer want loud promises. They want a partner whose presence calms their nervous system. They want real touch, real meals, real conversations, real mornings. They become irresistible because they carry a sensual maturity that cannot be faked. Taurus after 50 knows how to love through small sacred rituals, making coffee before you ask, remembering your favorite song, touching your shoulder in public just to say, I'm here. Their love becomes physical, loyal, earthy, and astonishingly healing. If Taurus has lived for many years with the same person, this is the age when they either rediscover tenderness or quietly admit the truth. They may look at their spouse and think, do we still choose each other, or are we only used to each other? If love is still alive, Taurus will fight for it beautifully. They will restore romance through attention, comfort, intimacy, and patience. But if the relationship has become only a habit, Taurus may finally stop sacrificing the rest of their life for the appearance of stability. Cancer. Cancer after 50 becomes irresistible because they finally learn the difference between caring and carrying. In youth, Cancer often loves as if love means becoming someone's shelter, nurse, mother, therapist, forgiveness machine, and emotional rescue boat. They give too much, excuse too much, remember every wound, and still prepare dinner. They may spend years with people who take their tenderness for granted because Cancer secretly believes that if they love harder, the other person will eventually become softer. But after 50, Cancer changes, not always loudly, not dramatically. It happens like moonlight moving across a room, quiet, undeniable, impossible to stop. They begin to ask, who takes care of me when I am tired? They begin to understand that being needed is not the same as being loved. This realization makes Cancer incredibly powerful. Their softness remains, but it is no longer available to everyone. Their heart is still deep, but now it has a gate. This is why Cancer becomes so magnetic later in life. They still know how to make love feel like home, but now that home has boundaries. They will not let someone walk in with muddy shoes and call it passion. They will not keep feeding a love that leaves them starving. After 50, Cancer wants emotional maturity, warmth, family feeling, loyalty, and a partner who does not mock their sensitivity, but recognizes it as a rare gift. If Cancer has been with the same person for decades, this period can become a turning point. They may suddenly stop begging for affection. They may stop explaining why anniversaries matter, why tone matters, why silence hurts. Instead, they observe. If their partner wakes up and becomes tender again, Cancer can fall in love with them all over again, perhaps more deeply than before. But if the partner remains cold, Cancer may emotionally leave long before they physically do. And once Cancer's heart has packed its bags, it is very difficult to bring it back. Cancer after 50 often prefers a partner of their own age or someone slightly more mature, not necessarily older by years, but older in soul. Leo after 50 becomes irresistible because they stop needing applause and begin radiating presence. Younger Leo often wants to be adored, admired, chosen, noticed, and celebrated. They may enter love like a stage, hoping someone will see their brilliance and never look away. But after 50, Leo's fire changes color. It becomes less like fireworks and more like a golden fireplace, still warm, still beautiful, still commanding attention, but deeper, steadier, and far more intimate. This is the age when Leo begins to understand that real love is not about being worshipped. It is about being witnessed. They no longer want someone who flatters their ego but disappears when life becomes difficult. They want someone who sees the magnificent and the wounded parts together. Someone who can admire their strength but also hold their vulnerability without using it against them. That is when Leo becomes almost impossible to resist. When pride turns into dignity, drama turns into passion, and desire turns into devotion. After 50, Leo often changes their attitude toward relationships because they have tasted the emptiness of superficial attention. They know compliments can be cheap. They know chemistry can be loud and still lead nowhere. They know being desired is not the same as being loved, so they begin choosing differently. They look for loyalty, admiration with substance, emotional generosity, and a partner who does not compete with their light but stands beside it. If Leo has lived with someone for many years, this stage can bring a powerful emotional reckoning. Leo may ask themselves, does this person still see me, or have I become furniture in their life? If the partner still admires them, laughs with them, touches them, praises them sincerely, and makes them feel alive, Leo can become more romantic after 50 than they were at 30. They may plan trips, revive intimacy, dress beautifully, flirt shamelessly, and turn marriage into a second youth. But if they feel unseen for too long, Leo's heart begins to look toward the sunrise, not necessarily to betray, but to remember that they were born to be loved warmly, not tolerated politely. Leo, after 50, may be attracted to someone younger because younger energy can awaken their playfulness and remind them that life is not over. Scorpio after 50 becomes irresistible because they finally stop confusing intensity with fate. In youth, Scorpio often loves like someone standing too close to a fire, mesmerized, consumed, half aware of the danger and unable to step back. They are drawn to depth, obsession, mystery, emotional risk, and connections that feel karmic from the first glance. They can endure too much, forgive what should not be forgiven, and stay in relationships that drain them simply because the emotional chemistry is unforgettable. But after 50, Scorpio becomes wiser without becoming colder, and that changes everything. What transforms in Scorpio is their relationship with power. They no longer want to win love. They want to trust it. They no longer find chaos seductive. They find consistency erotic. This is one of the great secrets about Scorpio later in life. The older they get, the more magnetic they become, because their passion stops being reckless and becomes precise. They know exactly what they want, exactly what they cannot tolerate, and exactly how much energy they are willing to invest in someone. There is nothing more attractive than a person who knows their own depth and is no longer ashamed of it. If Scorpio has spent years with the same partner, after 50 they often reach a point of truth. Either the bond deepens into something almost sacred, or the illusion breaks. Scorpio can continue loving one person for decades, but only if there is real emotional intimacy. They cannot live forever in politeness, routine, or empty coexistence. At this age, they begin to ask, do you really know me? Do you still want to? If the answer is yes, Scorpio becomes devoted in a way that feels fated. Their sensuality, loyalty, and emotional intelligence turn the relationship into a private universe. But if they feel unseen, betrayed, or handled carelessly, they can leave with a finality that shocks everyone. Scorpio after 50 is often attracted to partners their own age or slightly younger, especially if that younger person is emotionally deep, not superficial. Scorpio does not care much about numbers. They care about energy. They want someone who is psychologically mature, emotionally fearless. Capricorn. Capricorn after 50 becomes irresistible because this is often the age when they finally allow love to become personal, not practical. In youth, Capricorn is frequently busy building a life, a career, a name, a home, a reputation, a sense of control. They may choose relationships with the same seriousness they choose long-term plans, carefully, responsibly, sometimes even strategically. They are not usually careless with their hearts, but they may keep their feelings under strict management. They love, but they often show love through duty, support, reliability, and sacrifice rather than emotional display. After 50, something extraordinary happens. Capricorn begins to understand that success without warmth is lonely, and stability without intimacy is not enough. This realization softens them in the most beautiful way. Their strength remains, but it is no longer armored. They begin to speak more openly, feel more deeply, and show affection more freely. This is why Capricorn becomes so attractive later in life. They have all the dignity, intelligence, and groundedness that made them impressive before, but now they add emotional availability, sensual depth, and a willingness to be truly close. Capricorn after 50 is often drawn to partners their own age or slightly older, because they value maturity, dependability, and life experience. They admire people who have depth, discipline, and emotional intelligence earned through real living. Yet many Capricorns also become unexpectedly attractive to younger partners. Why? Because they age with elegance. They carry competence, calm, and quiet authority. They are the kind of person who walks into a room and makes everyone feel that life can still be handled with grace. How do they love after 50? Steadily, seriously, and with increasing warmth. They do not waste time on empty excitement. They want a partner who respects their inner world, their time, their responsibilities, and their need for real substance. They become generous in a deep way, not only financially or practically, but emotionally. Capricorn after 50 knows how to protect, provide, encourage, and remain faithful through difficulty. But they also become more open to receiving love, which makes them far more irresistible than in youth. The older Capricorn is no longer just a safe choice. They become a rare one, strong enough to hold you, wise enough to understand you, and finally soft enough to let you see their heart. Aquarius. Aquarius after 50 becomes irresistible because they stop apologizing for being different and start living as if authenticity is the only real form of seduction. In youth, Aquarius can be fascinating but hard to reach. They often keep part of themselves at a distance, observing their relationships almost from above, as if trying to understand love before fully surrendering to it. They value freedom, individuality, mental chemistry, and the right to remain entirely themselves. Because of this, they may attract many people but confuse even those who love them deeply. Their heart is sincere, but it can be difficult to read. After 50, Aquarius becomes far more powerful in love because they are no longer fragmented between head and heart. Life teaches them that emotional intimacy does not have to mean losing freedom. They begin to understand that the right relationship does not cage them, it gives their uniqueness a place to rest. This shift makes Aquarius incredibly attractive. They remain original, unpredictable, and intellectually magnetic, but now there is more tenderness in them, more availability, more patience with emotional complexity. They stop running from depth and start choosing it on their own terms. Aquarius after 50 may be especially drawn to someone younger in spirit, not necessarily younger in age, but alive, curious, mentally flexible, and unafraid of unconventional love. Still, they also do very well with partners their own age if those partners are emotionally independent and intellectually vibrant. Aquarius needs someone who is not clingy, controlling, or threatened by difference. They are not looking for ownership. They are looking for resonance. How do they love after 50? More openly than before, but still in their own unmistakable style. They love through loyalty to your mind, your truth, your freedom, your becoming. They encourage you to be yourself and expect the same in return. They become irresistible because being loved by Aquarius after 50 feels like being chosen by someone who sees through society's illusions and still finds you extraordinary. They can be playful, witty, emotionally surprising, and beautifully devoted once they feel safe enough to stay. The older Aquarius no longer hides behind detachment as much. They let love in not to possess or be possessed, but to build a bond where both souls can breathe. Pisces after 50 becomes irresistible because they finally understand that love is not meant to drown them. In youth, Pisces often loves with too much mercy, too much hope, too much imagination. They see potential where others see warning signs. They stay because they feel the hidden sadness in people. They sacrifice because they believe love can heal what life has broken. And while this gives Pisces extraordinary tenderness, it can also lead them into disappointment, one-sided relationships, and years of emotional exhaustion. After 50, Pisces does not lose their softness, but it becomes wiser. They begin to understand that compassion without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. They stop confusing suffering with devotion. They stop romanticizing pain. And that is when they become breathtaking in love. Pisces later in life carries something almost mystical, deep empathy combined with emotional discernment. They still know how to adore, dream, forgive, inspire, and create emotional magic. But now they also know when to say no. That balance makes them almost impossible to replace. If Pisces has lived many years with the same person, this can be the age when their heart either opens more fully or closes a chapter forever. Pisces can stay loyal through years of imperfection if they feel genuine emotional connection. But if they realize they have been living beside someone who has merely consumed their tenderness without honoring it, they may change in a quiet but final way. On the other hand, if their partner begins to meet them with real affection, listening, romance, and care, Pisces can make love bloom again even after decades. They are one of the few signs who can make a long relationship feel poetic once more. Pisces after 50 is often drawn to partners of their own age or older souls because they crave emotional safety, understanding, and a person who appreciates depth. A younger partner can also attract them, but only if that person is gentle, sincere, and mature enough not to play games with a sensitive heart. My name is Anna and I am an astrologer. Thank you for your attention. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss even more interesting releases, astrological forecasts, and horoscopes.